it's far more scarier to not be who you are than to be who you are. That's not easy.
Totally.
You lose people you love.
Yeah.
People get sick, people die, financial stress, work stress, kids, can't have kids. You name it, there's constantly things out there that are going to challenge your heart and your happiness. But again, what is that? What's happiness to you?
For anyone who's hearing about Spinal Energetics for the first time, can you explain very simply what it is and what it is that you do?
So I don't really believe in pure burnout necessarily. What I think burnout is too much energy doing something that you don't want to do. People love the things about you that are imperfect because it reminds them within themselves, as silly as it is, that I don't have to be perfect either.
Yeah.
So you make the session really replicate what life can be, and life's not linear, so you can't make a session linear. The brain, once it can expect something or it can predict something, it becomes bored, and your possibility of something like neuroplasticity is less. Because the brain's really smart. It's just going to be like, I know what's happening here, and plateau. Mm-hmm. A lot of the time we get people who come in with nothing wrong and they can't figure out why they're not happy because they did everything that they were told to do. They've got the golden retriever, they've married their childhood sweetheart or whatever. They've got the really nice house, and the other house, and the other house. And they've got money, they've got everything. They've got a boy, a girl, and then they can't figure out why they're miserable. And it's because they've been sold a lie. Being sold, as soon as you get this, and this, you'll be happy. And that's not the way it is. It's unfortunate.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of the pod. I hope you're all having a fabulous week. Today, I'm joined by Dr. Sarah Jane Perri, a Melbourne-based chiropractor, holistic counsellor, and the founder of Spinal Energetics, a healing modality that blends chiropractic care, energy work, and somatic awareness. Sarah's whole philosophy comes back to one simple idea, that real healing starts with reconnecting to your body, your nervous system, and your own inner energy. With a background in psychology, chiropractic science, and Chinese medicine, she's found this really beautiful way of blending science with spirituality, helping people release tension, regulate their emotions, and realign from within. Sarah, welcome to the pod.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to have you here. I have read so much about you and seen all the incredible things that you do. Before we dive though into Spinal Energetics, I really want to start with you because you've built this incredible career and you've helped so many people. I imagine that may have come from your own story or journey. Tell me a little bit about that and what's led you here.
How much time do you have?
We've got all the time for you.
There wasn't like one thing, if that makes sense. A lot of people think that there was just an epiphany kind of moment and then it kind of drew me this way. Not necessarily. It was more an accumulation of a lot of things in my own life and some really difficult times as well, which I would say most people who end up, I guess, working in this field that I work within, which is more, being of service to others, helping people shift, what's been experienced through their bodies and things like anxiety, fibromyalgia, pain without causation. All of these things are things that I've kind of experienced myself and had to go on my own journey and I guess really figure out what was happening, where could I join the dots, where could I make sense of something that felt nonsensical at the time.
Yeah.
And it kind of drew me into this, but there's an educational component as well with things that I've studied that relate to this field and just where my interest as a person was always more in the, I want to say spiritual without sounding silly, but more in the spiritual realm of who am I as a person, who do I want to be as a person, how can I make the world a little bit better than the way I had found it. And that's really been my why, yeah.
For sure. And what first drew you into the world of chiropractic and holistic health?
I think for me, I was working as a fashion buyer at the time, studying psychology, and I was bored on my lunch break, as you do, and I put up Seek while still working at my other job and put in the keyword search. I put in the word meaningful because that's what I was looking for. And I was like, I wonder if any job has put meaningful in their description because everything else felt kind of surface level, felt like it was more finance driven. Yeah. It just didn't feel like – it felt like a mask all the time. It didn't feel authentic. And a job came up for a chiropractic practice manager. It was the only job in the whole place. And it said meaningful in there, someone looking for something meaningful. And I applied with no experience within health, except for psychology, what I was studying, but nothing to do with allied health at that point in time, and somehow convinced the chiropractor to hire me. And the rest is kind of history. As soon as I stepped into that place, I was like, this is where I'm meant to be. It felt like really a reflection of home, something I'd been looking for my whole life, somewhere to belong. You know, I looked around and they had the same kind of books that I had. They had the same kind of products. Everyone was coming in smiling and healthy, and it wasn't a traditional kind of health clinic where things looked white and starky or people looked sick or people it just felt like somewhere you wanted to be. And from there on, that's really where I was like, I'm going to become a chiropractor.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did.
I love that word meaningful, though, that you looked up, because generally when people are jobs hunting, right, they're looking for other things in jobs and they're looking for a lot of hard skills as well, right? Like, do you have finance background and you were like, meaningful, which I think is really awesome. Nothing I've actually ever thought of before, because I think when you do work a job too, you want it to really fulfill you, right? It's not something that should just be a surface level 9 to 5. I mean, for some people it is, but for a lot of people, I think they are looking for something that carries more weight and more purpose. So it's great that you were able to find that. Was there a specific moment or experience that made you realize that there was something more beyond traditional chiropractic care?
Yeah, definitely. I think for me, what I thought chiro was, I thought it was kind of like a physiotherapist or someone who just dealt with back pain and, you know, was quite, I don't know, focused on one area. But really what I saw were the changes in people's lives. And, that's something I wanted to create, but without the back cracking, for example, because a lot of people, you know, if they hear that you crack backs or whatever, there's a nervousness to it. And that nervousness you can get around it because you don't need the manipulation to get the same results.
Yeah.
Whereas I think that's kind of a misconception at the start. So that's what kind of led me, you know, away from the chiropractic realm and more into the energetic space, which is where I find myself now. But general chiropractic's great for things like pain to do with necks, backs, all of that kind of stuff. But for me, I was really looking for more the spiritual components about it and how aligning, you know, yourself within the inside can also align the outside and the way that you see the world. So that was kind of more the premise around it.
And when you think back to your early career, what kind of beliefs or practices do you think have evolved most for you?
Was $39 at the start. I'm not $39 anymore. It's hard to say. It's an evolution that just comes with time. I can't look back and go, you know, it's all led me to where I am now. There's nothing I don't use anymore or nothing I've completely stripped out. Again, whenever I used to work with clients, it was about catering to them and a unique approach for them rather than trying to do a one-size-fits-all approach. And so for me, it's really looking at a person in front of you as a person and just utilising the tools that you have to assist them in a way that's built for them specifically rather than, you know, the same thing no matter who comes in, no matter what their symptomatology is, no matter what their history is, no matter what the context of who they are as a person is. And that's really when it started becoming a little bit more unique, I suppose.
Yeah. Something I find fascinating about your work, which is what you said before, is how you link the physical self and emotional. Can you explain how our spinal health and alignment actually affect how we feel day to day and how that comes out in everything we do? Yeah,
I think in the West we're a little bit misled in thinking that they're separate. You know, the physical body and the mind aren't the same. You know, if you go into a local yoga studio or local breathwork practices, they all say, you know, like we're uniting the mind and the body when essentially you can't unite something that is the same. They're one thing, they're one being and they coexist. And just like we aren't separate from each other, we all are in coexistence with each other and co-connection with each other. You can't separate that, so you can't separate those elements either. But if the spine is always reflective of your experience in life, and it's always a reflection of your beliefs and your perceptions. So if you aren't in alignment within who you are internally, your environment outside isn't going to reflect the person you want to be or the values that you have. They just mirror each other essentially.
Yeah. And for anyone who's struggling with kind of anxiety or burnout like you spoke about before, how can becoming aware of your posture or spinal health kind of help you to sort of regulate those emotions?
I don't know. I think the posture is something that for me, you know, people saying like, oh, the posture is everything, or the way that you work at your desk or the way that you look at your phone is really going to be paramount to your health. I think it's far more than that. I think they're things that add to it and add to the stress of the spine, but an emotional stressor that you haven't integrated is going to be far more impactful on your posture than necessarily working at a desk. What I kind of look at is more so, your unique posture. Where are the curves? What are they representing? What are they communicating? What are they saying? So, for example, everybody is communicating constantly at a point in time, just like body language is constantly communicating. What we say means so little. And when someone walks in a room, you're picking up on the energy of the person, and you're also picking up on the way that they carry themselves. And by those kind of cues, the spine is constantly communicating. The body is constantly communicating what's happening internally for that person. So even for you, for example, there's a lot coming up on your left side, which is more the feminine and more so the ancestral of where your mum is from. I'm not sure exactly, but what comes through the line of that and her mother and a lot of strong things around the mother. Responsibility, making sure that you make your family proud, making sure that there's a large weight of doing something good in the world, making something of yourself. And I don't know if they're immigrants as well, if they moved here, but making sure that their moves and their sacrifices were for a purpose. Have you told me that? No. But what happens is it communicates at all times. So that's just what we're doing. We're just reading that communication. And you would have the same thing with me. There'd be things about me that you would be picking up. It's not a skill set just for myself. It's a skill set that we have as human beings within each other as well. So, yeah.
I am blown away because everything you just said then is bang on.
Yeah, so that's where we would work on the body though.
Wow.
So that communication tells me where to go, where to move, where to shift, where to release. So for you, really career-driven, journalism, things like that. I don't know if you're studying at the moment at uni. You don't necessarily need to study. You've got other ways around that, which is something that you can look at.
Okay. Yeah. This is very interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, my goodness. I want to ask you, you founded what has become a global phenomenon, right? We're talking Spinal Energetics back in 2022 during the pandemic. And since then, your work has exploded and it has gained worldwide attention. I know that you've traveled a lot for your work too. You've spoken at a lot of places and summits. For anyone who's hearing about Spinal Energetics for the first time, can you explain very simply what it is and what it is that you do?
Oh, look, it really depends on who you're talking to as well. It really adapts. But what essentially we're doing is we're looking at your body as an expression or almost like a fingerprint of everything that you've gone through in your life, like a timeline, and what has accumulated and what has that accumulation taught you in terms of your responses as a human. So are your protective strategies actually serving you, or are they protective strategies that aren't in relation to what's happening now? Are they from your past rather than your present? And are they preventing you from living your true sense of self and your true life? That's really where we're looking at it. But, depending on who's coming in, it might be someone's got pain and they can't find out as to why. Well, that why is usually an emotional causation, that chronic stress, that experience throughout, whether it's your family, your childhood, whatever it might be. There's something that hasn't quite become whole within you yet. It's like things have become fragmented in the system, and the body is literally just communicating to you that there's something there that you need to look at. Unfortunately, we only look at things once we've tried things and they stop working or they haven't worked. That's really when we expose ourselves to more this holistic way of looking. Until then, we just really think of it as just a physical thing. And a lot of our things that we're feeling, like even something as simple as gut health, we realise that there's such an emotional connection to that, because even at the physicality, your vagus nerve runs from your brain and through to your gut. What's your vagus nerve do? Well, it's your nervous system responder. So, a gut issue isn't simply just a gut issue. It's the way that you respond to the world. What are you fearful of? What are you constantly, chronically fearful of? And really the nervous system is it's like a really fancy smoke detector. And there's nothing worse than having a smoke detector that's going off if you're just making eggs in the morning. You don't want that. Yeah. You're like, I'm just making eggs. There's not a fire here. So you don't want a hyper-vigilant one. But then if there is actual fire, you want it to go off. You don't want it to not go off. And they're essentially what our nervous system responses can be based upon our past. So if we bring the person into the present moment, and then they can let go of the past but still have the learnings from it, but gain wisdom from it, but still have a contextual response to what's happening in the present moment, as well as not losing hope for the future and seeing things far more expansive, then you've got a different person, And that's really where we're looking at things.
The linkage between gut health and the mind and the nervous system is something that I have personally experienced. And now that we're talking about that, going through like chronic stress and fatigue through work and burnout, I have found that I've had probably my gut health has been at the worst that it's ever been in my life. And going to see so many doctors, and of course GPs will only give you one sort of, perspective on things, going to more holistic, people, and having that sort of perspective then made me realize that actually it's not the food that I'm putting into my body because I'm eating really well and I'm exercising. It's the stress from work and all those other surrounding factors.
Well, it's nonsensical, So if you've had your gut looked at, they've gone inside and they've looked, they can't find anything too wrong, but you're experiencing signs, then that you're actually in a good place to do something about it because it hasn't actually accumulated to a physical seen response yet. That's a good thing. But then you're kind of left to your own devices. So you'll see a holistic person, maybe like a naturopath or something, and they'll be like, oh, have your 30 supplements a day. Don't eat, fructose, don't eat gluten, don't eat dairy, when really dairy is not the problem. Those things aren't the problem. There's a reason why your body's reacting this way to inflammation, and that what's causing the inflammation, probably stress. But what stress? The largest density of stress in our body that we carry is emotional stress. So there's usually something going on then. But then knowing that, what do you do about that? Like, just stop stressing. Oh, okay. Like, do hypnosis for gut and things like that. So when you look at what they're giving people is to fix gut health, they're showing you already that there's an emotional symptomatology to it. It's like fibromyalgia, which is a pain disorder. What they give you antidepressants, which again is linking this idea of our mental health reflecting our physical health. But for you, there's something else with the gut that's going on. It's saying specifically a relationship from when you were younger, so like 16, 17. That's stored in there. Again, does that mean that that's creating your gut issue? No. What it means is that accumulation of non-integration of a specific event or long-term events is creating stress in the body, which means certain things can't function to the best that they could usually function. And gut is one of those things to show up just because it's so connected to our nervous system.
I want to talk about your sessions that you do with patients. Can you walk us through what a session actually looks and feels like? If someone was to come to you, talk us through it.
It's very different with every person. Okay. That's what I love about it though, because even I can't tell you what I'm going to do necessarily. What does happen though is the body's always communicating to tell me where to go. I'm not leading the body. The body's always leading me, and we pay attention to that. The other thing that we do is we go into the areas that feel like it has the most life force and welcoming in it, rather than the areas which are the most protective. Because if you try to connect to someone through their protected area and they don't know you very well, the body's actually going to protect even more. So we try to find the areas that are working well, kind of like Robin Hood, find the areas where there's richness and ease in the energy system, and then we move it along to where there's poor energy or energy that's not as connected as it could be based upon, again, life experiences. And it's really perception based as well, because what could be traumatic, for lack of a better word, to one person won't be for another, even if they experience the exact same thing. So it's really the story and the perception and how that stores the meaning that we've created from events. So what we're doing essentially is working with the unconscious, because the conscious mind is only really about 5%. So I can rationalise all day with you as to tell you as to why, but it's really not going to make much of a difference. We're trying to work with that other 90 to 95%. And so a lot of the time people are in a different state of consciousness, almost like hypnotherapy, which I think, again, is why people get nervous of the work. They get nervous of what they might feel. They get nervous of what might come up. They get nervous of being out of control. There's a sense where they feel like they may not be in control of their environment, when really, if you wanted to stop at any time, you can. But there is a feeling of being connected to something within you, like the life within you that maybe you haven't felt before. And I think there's a confrontation of connecting to your true self. Like what truth do you have to face? And that's confronting.
And what is the role of each of those sensory modalities that you spoke about? So obviously touch, light and sound. Can you explain a little bit more about those?
Well, they're all energy. So we use light as a way to even move the eyes. So there's a practice called EMDR therapy where they actually change the way that the eyes are looking to desensitize how trauma is stored in the body. But light's also energy frequency, so there's a few components. Sound we're very big on. Sound is another facilitator. Music makes you feel things. It makes you remember things. It also takes you into different worlds. The other thing that we use sound for is a way that's non-sensical and non-linear. So the brain, once it can expect something or it can predict something, it becomes bored, and your possibility of something like neuroplasticity is less, because the brain's really smart. It's just going to be like, oh, I know what's happening here, and plateau. So we need to constantly be changing things so that the brain can't predict what's happening. So the music's very drastically changed and shifts between non-coherent sound, which sounds non-enjoyable, but it's actually it's something that just is facilitating with the practitioner. You would think it'd be annoying as a client, but it's actually there purposely, even to be annoyed. That's good. That means that there's something changing that you're not used to, something out of your comfort level. And we make sound as well, and a lot of traditional and indigenous healing systems, like shamanism, just as an example, they use sound. It's only in the West where we get really nervous about what we could possibly sound like. Do we sound stupid? Do we sound silly? And we've got this kind of idea that we just lie on a table and be really still and just like get healed or something. We don't have to participate. It's nothing up to us, and we just do it in quiet, like spa-like settings. Like, that's not really how life is. So we make the session really replicate what life can be, and life's not linear, so you can't make a session linear.
And there's a lot of curiosity online, and also some skepticism as well around what people see in the video. So how can you explain exactly what's going on in those moments?
I wish I could. It's trying to explain something that's non-tangible. So the best way, if you are a skeptic, I totally understand. I come from 2 science degrees. It's not something that I think looks like it's possible. That's why it doesn't bother me when people say that. I think it's healthy to have skepticism, but I think you also need to be open to trying something new and open to different possibilities of what you thought was possible. If you had showed this to me 10 years ago, I would have said that's probably not possible. But I can tell you it is from my experience. And so for me, when you see something like Spinal Energetics where the client isn't being touched directly by the practitioner on their skin, that's hard for people to wrap their head around, because we still think that this is us and that we don't have a field and that we're not energetic beings, when essentially science is actually confirming that we are. There's just this it's a belief system, whereas, like going to the dentist, that doesn't have a belief system. People just go to the dentist, they lie in the chair, and it is what it is, because you feel them doing something to your teeth and you're like, okay, that makes sense. I don't think anyone's ever said I don't believe in the dentist. Maybe they don't go because they don't want to, because there's a fear there too. But as soon as you're off body, that's when people start to question beliefs. If I was physically touching the body and pulling their arm in a certain way to maneuver them to then move, makes sense. But a lot of us have lost touch with this idea as well, that we can actually have something moving through us at all times, that prana, that life force, that chi. It's a bit far removed from what we understand now. But there's a lot of people that do understand it and have seen it and are like, even if I don't understand it, I want to. I know that there's something in that for me. And I think that's why it's taken off. Also, initially the polarization of it looks quite polarizing, but that's not going to keep people in your clinic. What keeps people in your clinic is them coming and discovering themselves and discovering the power of the work. So that's what keeps us going.
And what is the most valuable thing that people walk away with from the sessions?
I think for me, I can only speak on my own experience. For me is a real deep sense of knowing who I am and who I'm not. We're living in a world which is constantly bombarding us with things to question what we are and what we're not. And it gets confusing. I think the world's become more confusing with things like social media. Do I need that? Do I want that? Marketing's been going off this idea that we're less than for many years. That's how marketing works. It gets you to buy something so that you can feel that you're like David Beckham if you buy his fragrance, So constantly the way that our world works is to diminish you to feel less than, so that you can be more like someone else and whatever you think that they are, whether it's better looking, smarter, richer, and all these kind of Western values that aren't actually very meaningful to a human soul at all. So we kind of remove all that noise and all that nonsense, get you back into who you really are, and connect you to something larger than yourself as well, whatever you believe that to be, God, universe, whatever word you want to send it to. And that's where we find real meaning. Again, like I was searching for meaning. I think a lot of people coming into our clinic are searching for a deeper meaning and connection, whether it's with themselves or with other people around them.
Mm-hmm. And is there like a conversation that you have prior to them before you do these types of sessions, or is it something where they just walk in and...
I have less conversation now.
Okay.
In my time, talking's become less paramount. However, I think there's a space for it. It's making sure that people know what the session, like what could happen, what you could experience during, what you could experience after. That's important to kind of note.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I don't necessarily talk about what's happened to them in their life unless they feel that it's something that they want to do. Most people who come to us have seen a therapist already. They've seen a psychologist, they've seen a psychotherapist, they've done that. And they've talked and they're sick of talking. So this is actually kind of a relief where they just get to lie down and instead of kind of someone else telling them what it is, they experience it within themselves and experience their own aha moments within themselves just through the connection.
And are people generally coming just for one session then leaving and feeling, you know, healed, or are they coming back for multiple sessions to see you?
Everyone's different. It depends, you know, how old are they, what's happened in their life, is it something recent or is it something from a long time ago, how large is the symptomatology, is it something simpler, is it something more complex? It's really dependent. But it's very rare that someone just comes in for one. Again, I think we're kind of obsessed with this idea of being healed. And I've never really seen it, if I'm honest. That would be great. But there's parts of ourselves that we can resolve, but we go back out into life and something else is going to happen. If something's not happening now, something's about to, you know, that's life. So the idea would be that they come in for different purposes though. So it's not the same thing over and over again. Mm-hmm. It's usually something different or a different layer, a different perspective of an pre-existing. But, yeah, you go back out. Life's not easy.
Totally.
You know, you lose people you love.
Yeah.
People get sick. People die. Financial stress, work stress, kids, can't have kids. You name it. There's constantly things out there that are going to challenge your heart and your happiness. But again, what is that? What's happiness to you? A lot of the time we get people who come in with nothing wrong and they can't figure out why they're not happy because they did everything that they were told to do. They've got the golden retriever, you know, they've married their childhood sweetheart or whatever.
The nice house.
They've got the really nice house, and the other house, and the other house. And they've got money, they've got everything. They've got a boy, a girl.
Yeah.
And then they can't figure out why they're miserable. And it's because they've been sold a lie. Being sold as soon as you get this, and this, you'll be happy. And that's not the way it is. It's unfortunate, you know.
I want to talk about women and burnout. And I know that there's a lot of women who listen to this podcast that can constantly relate to being in like that go mode, right? Mm-hmm. Where you're constantly doing things, you're showing up, you're performing, and we're ignoring what our bodies are trying to tell us. And I am guilty of it. And as someone, I feel like I generally have a pretty good read on my body and my mind. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I'm just
almost too good.
Be quiet.
Yeah.
You know, I'm telling myself, I'm like trying to silence myself instead of actually tuning in. Why do you think that so many of us, though, have become disconnected from our bodies, and what can we start doing to tune back in?
Well, we'd have to change something. Mm. So if you were to listen, you might actually have to change something. You don't want to change something right now. Can't be bothered. Not because you're tired. You know, it's like a kind of a vicious cycle. Yeah. But again, women, if I'm honest, in my opinion, are doing too much, unfortunately. You know, they're working, they're looking after kids, they're looking after their husbands, who's sometimes also a kid. If they want to go out, then they have to prepare everything. They can't even just go out. Like, they've got to prepare the bag, they've got to prepare all this, they've got to prepare all that. Like, you know, they're married to babysitters rather than partners, so they don't alleviate any of the stress. And then maybe their partner doesn't work either, so then they're doing that too. And then if their mum gets sick or their dad gets sick, most likely it's a daughter that's going to step up and be the caregiver. You know, we're taught to be a good female, and a good woman is to be giving and to look after everyone else and to be nurturing. And, you know, unfortunately that means putting ourselves last. That's constantly reinforced, even though we say don't. There's a reason people don't do it. It's from societal reinforcement. So again, oh, you're such a good mum, you're such a good this. Usually what that equates to is forsaking yourself. So we're just constantly forsaking ourselves. And that's why women get sick in different ways to men as well. You know, if you just look at Gabor Mate's, discoveries around like autoimmune disease and things like that, they're more prevalent in females, and there's a reason for that. The way that we're wired and the way that we're living are different.
And what are some of those signs when our body is showing us and telling us to slow down? What does that actually look like?
It can look different for different people. It can be literally fatigue, but then we're kind of in this thing where we're like, oh no, everyone's tired. I can sleep when I'm dead. Like go, like this kind of David Goggins kind of thing as well. And I get pulled between the two as well because I'm so ambitious, and you know, that drives me in one way, but then why am I ambitious? I'm ambitious because I didn't know my father from when I was little, so I'm trying to prove my worth. I'm trying to prove I'm significant. I'm trying to prove, really, essentially, to unconsciously prove to him that he should never have left me. All these things. Like, are you actually ambitious, or is that a trauma response? You know, what are you doing, and is that your equivalent of what your belief system is, or is it someone else's belief system? Is it your mum's belief system? Is it your husband's or belief system? You know, again, it's different. It's the best thing you can do is know who you really are.
Yeah.
And that's, I don't think many people know who they really are outside of those things that we really place our identity on.
And that was my next question to you then. How do you really tune in and really look deep and find who you are?
Look, Spinal Energetics is one way. Of course, I'm going to say that.
Yeah.
But another way would be something like meditation, yoga. Find a practice that connects you back to yourself and that connects you to time to yourself. We don't prioritize. We don't prioritize the relationship with ourselves. You know, and that's what we need to do. And it's not just our relationship with ourselves, but our relationship with creation, whatever it might be. And then you can hear better. And not only hear better, but have more of a courage to listen to that.
Well, in your line of work then, when you're working with so many people, how do you protect your own energy then?
It's quite interesting. People ask me this a lot, and I don't. For me, if I protect myself, that creates an energetic kind of field that proves that there's separation. And there's also judgment then. Like, I'm judging that I need to protect myself from you, when really what I believe is that unconditional love is really what opens people up. The soul's cheeky. It won't come out willing, like just whenever it wants. You actually have to break through a lot of barriers for someone to show you who they really are. It's like when you date someone, it takes about 3 or 4 months of dating them for the mask to slowly come off. It takes a while, and it takes a while in a session for someone to drop those masks and those coping mechanisms as well. And me protecting myself is kind of sending that message that there's something to protect myself from, when really I'm trying to explain to them through the field that there's nothing to protect myself from, because every part of them is welcome. So there's the worst part of you, the worst thing you've ever done is welcome here. And I think that's something that a lot of people feel like they're bad people, or they think bad things, or they've done bad things. And most people also, unfortunately, haven't experienced unconditional love. They've experienced conditional love, but unconditional love's a different thing. And so to feel that and feel that permission is going to be far more beneficial than kind of fear or protection. But it's also why I don't, see 1 billion clients a day. So you've just got to, how much of you can you actually give and be fully present with someone?
That's right.
Yeah.
I want to touch on something a little deeper, because it was something that you said in another podcast. And it really resonated with me when you said it, and I wanted to share it with our listeners.
What did I say?
You said a lot of people are pretending so we can be accepted and loved. And you said that you actually feel lonelier around people who don't show their real selves, and that those are the environments that you feel most overwhelmed in. And it really made me think, because it was something, I was saying something along very similar lines to a friend the other day. I think especially now in a digital space where we're always like trying to curate this version of ourselves and uphold that version that we have online in real life too. And I mean, I myself go to a lot of events, but I find that I actually feel the loneliest at those places, because
it's not real.
It's not real, right?
Yeah.
And you're making
Small
shallow small talk with people, which absolutely does my head in.
Yeah.
Like it's the worst kind of small talk, right? When people are asking you, how are you? But they don't really care how you are. They're just asking you for the sake of asking you.
No. Even those events, what are they curated with? They're curated with nonsense.
Yeah.
Like it's not to say that they're still not nice to go to, but it's the values of the events are driving upon influence, followers, you share, da-da-da-da-da. Essentially, that's not meaningful. And how can you have a meaningful connection in a non-meaningful environment?
Yeah.
So when I go to those things now, I really just be myself. And if I don't like the way the conversation is, I just divert it to how I want it to be, so I can be there. But I also usually don't stay the whole time, the whole duration, because of those things. But yeah, I don't think you're alone in that. I would say most people in that event feel the same way, but they're all the same.
But no one's talking about it, and everyone's continuing to uphold that same kind of fakeness and persona, right?
It's like the Stepford wife from this, you know, it's the same thing. It takes stepping outside of the norm. Yeah. But that when you do that, then people actually love it because they're like, they recognize that. They feel the same way too. If you feel that way, I can promise you other people feel that way. And but social media, digital ages, it does perpetuate that ingenuineness kind of connection where it's like, let's just show photos about how happy we are here and how great it is, when really they want something free from there. They want, you know, it's not an actual pure exchange.
No. And there's no real connection going on at those events either. It's what you said.
No.
Do you feel, though, that constant performance, whether it's online or in social settings, is part of the reason why so many people are feeling burnt out or just off?
People are lonely. So I don't really believe in pure burnout necessarily. What I think burnout is too much energy doing something that you don't want to do, that's not in alignment with who you are, because then you get burnt out. Yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of my specific belief on that.
And is there any advice, like how can we start recognizing when we're in those spaces that don't really align with us? What can we do in those situations?
The unfortunate thing, which is change it.
Change.
Yeah, that's hard.
It is hard.
Yeah, I remember my brother's going to kill me if he listens to this, but I remember I got invited to, I paid for it actually, Tony Robbins, UPW.
Oh, yes,
so when I was younger, my brother gave me my first CD. Yes, you heard correct, CD, to listen in the car of Tony Robbins UPW, because that's how he started his first business. Yeah. And I used to listen to it every day, to the point so did he, and we can like basically
recite it.
Yeah, recite it. Hilarious. Personal joke. Anyway, so I had a free ticket to go. So I was going and I had a free ticket. I was like, called my brother. I said, you have to come. Like, Tony Robbins in person. Let's go together. Let's do our thing. He's like, oh, no, I can't go. And I was like, why? What do you have on? He's like, no, nothing. And I was like, so why can't you go? He's like, because I really don't want to mess with like my mindset right now. If I go, I'm going to see things that I don't want to see right now, and I don't want to have to change anything. Who knows? Like you might, whole life might flip over and upside down after you go to an event like that, because you realise, oh, maybe this isn't for me. This is for me, you know. So he's like, oh, no, I'm not going to come.
And those kinds of things really do make you think, though, and can almost like, really open up a can of worms if you've been trying to like.
They can,
push it away.
But I went and I opened the can. But that's like, I went to a Vipassana and came out and decided I was going to get a divorce. Like, I understand after being with someone for 14 years, like I get it. But I think it's worse if you don't open it up. Don't you think it's worse to have a can of worms there? Like, what's that going to do to your system? Yeah. Something far more than opening it.
What helps you stay grounded and confident in your mission?
I wouldn't say I'm always confident in my mission. That would be a lie. I think for me, being grounded is important. You never want to be an asshole. There's enough of those around. And I do things, anytime I start to forget, I go on a trip, usually overseas, like even if, just to keep myself grounded, just in case I end up not being.
Do you have a go-to place somewhere?
Yeah, I go to India usually most years,
Beautiful.
Although I went to Africa this year as well, and then I'm going to India over Christmas. So things like that, just things that make your perspective remember who you really are outside of all the noise. There's a lot of noise telling me otherwise, and I'm still like, oh, I like this, I like that, so I get it. Confident, no, but don't know how else I could live if it wasn't talking about this, and someone's got to talk about it. Because really people see the work, think like, what is that? That's not real. My face is attached to it. What I do is attached to it. If I cared too much about what people thought, I wouldn't be doing anything. But I would say it's not confidence. It's just I'm willing to kind of be that scapegoat if it means other people live a better life.
Yeah.
that's okay with me. That's a pretty nice legacy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you have so much wisdom and so much knowledge to share.
Sometimes.
I really think you do. I mean, I'm blown away. Obviously, I think just researching about what Spinal Energetics is online and then actually hearing you speak and imparting all this wisdom, I think it's important to have these open conversations and for more people to open their hearts and minds.
Yeah, it is. It is really important. And, you know, as soon as if I ever get a feeling that I don't want to do this anymore, I won't do it anymore. Yeah. You know, I think I know I am where I'm meant to be right now. Yeah. And I think people feel that. So, you know, I never had a business plan. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in, you know, like looking in the mirror and telling myself I'm worthy 10 times a day and believing it. That's never been it. There are times where I don't think I'm worthy, but I think that's what makes people being able to connect to you. No one wants a perfect person. So that's why I find it so odd that we try to be perfect. Ever met a perfect person? Really annoying. Like when I found out about your beautiful teeth, I was upset about it. You know, I wasn't like, oh, that's connection. I was like, of course.
Rude.
You know, yeah. I was like, oh, you and your perfection. You know, so people love the things about you that are imperfect because it reminds them within themselves, as silly as it is, that I don't have to be perfect either.
Yeah.
So you know that's why I've never listened to a podcast. I don't want to get business coached on how to talk. I'm not interested. Like, oh, you say a lot. Well, that's okay. I'm a human being. I'm discussing things. Yeah. Not everything has to be curated to perfection, and that's hard as a perfectionist. You know, that's why I just don't listen. But, you know, again, my perfectionism is a protective strategy. It's not actually who I am. If I lived on an island by myself, I probably wouldn't, and no one was ever coming, I probably wouldn't care about being perfect. Yeah. So it's not real, is it?
No, that's right.
Yeah.
What is next for you and for Spinal Energetics?
It's a very good question. Who knows?
Don't know.
No, don't know. Like I said, I've never been a planner.
That's good.
The only thing I do know is I'm writing level 3 at the moment. So we have levels so that you can go into different, I guess, versions of the modality. So level 1's kind of more that trauma release. Level 2 is more the lotus, like the reward after going through all the crap. And then level 3 is like the sun, which is when like the lotus faces the sun to reap that. So, you know, there's that. I'm having a book come out next year, which is exciting.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's been like 2 years in the making.
Wow. What's that process been like, writing a book?
Well, it was quite funny. I was about a year overdue from my published date, and I was like, this isn't going very well. So we actually did it like an interview style in the end.
Oh, nice.
Because it was so much easier.
You're a great talker though, so I feel like
that's good.
I can understand how that would
I write well as well to pump my own. What is it? Toot my own horn? Not pump my own horn. Toot my own horn. But the way I write is different to the way that I speak. And for the first book, it needs to be a little bit more down to earth, like a little bit more accessible for everyone. That's and then I'll hand write the second one. Yeah. But that's been really cool. I've got a great publisher. They're wonderful. But I had to have it finished by December for it to come out in July. Did you know that? So many rules. A lot of rules.
Long process.
Yeah, long process. I'm like, I could be dead by then. So if I am, buy the book. Everything takes so long.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Patience though.
Yeah.
And it'll happen when it happens.
Yeah. I don't know. That's about it. That's all. That's about what I know.
Amazing.
Yeah.
We have a closing tradition on this podcast where every guest has to do a round of rapid fire Q&A questions.
I thought you were going to say I had to rap. I was like, okay.
Hey, but rapid fire. Can you rap?
I can't, but I would do it for you. All right, give me the rapid fire question.
Question number 1.
Yes.
What's the first thing you do when you wake up?
Have a cup of tea.
Yum.
Old lady.
What is one thing people would be surprised to learn about you?
That I have fake boobs.
Oh. That's odd.
Is that a weird answer? That's
no.
The first thing I think they would find that odd.
Why?
Because I'm holistic. I won't drink water from the tap, but I have had plastic surgery there.
As you do?
Yeah. Again, I don't have any regrets in life at all, but yeah, you learn and you develop as you get older. But I think a lot of people are surprised by that. They get a bit shocked.
Yeah.
Which is a compliment.
There you go. You got nice boobs.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Paid for them.
That's right. What is one song that instantly shifts your energy or mood?
Oh, I'm a big song person.
Okay.
So music's really big in my life. I play piano, blah, blah, blah. I won't go down that route. But I love really sad songs. So don't come to me for a pick-me-up song. That doesn't exist. Anthony and the Johnsons, a lot of people don't know his music or her music now. Really, really brilliant music. And there's a song called I Hope There's Someone, and that's about dying and hoping that there's people around you when you die, leaving this world and going to the next. And it's just really like just, I don't know, touching. You're just like, because that's what we all really hope. No one wants to die alone.
Yeah.
Like that's scary. And my mum, I help look after her. She had a really rare brain disease, so I go and visit her in the aged care home because she needs 24-hour care, so I wasn't able to do that for her. And that's a place. Like people get scared to go to the dentist. I get scared to go to the aged care home because that's a sad place to be. And it's sad because people don't have people around them. So I think that's what we want. We want people around us.
Yeah. I have to look them up.
Yeah, really good.
What is your go-to drink on a night out? Could be alcoholic, non-alcoholic, doesn't matter.
I don't drink alcohol, so I'm going to say a cup of tea. I'm always that person at the bar asking, is your coffee machine still on? And they're like, oh, do you want a coffee? And I don't drink coffee, but I would love
just
a cup of tea.
What tea do you drink?
Well, depends what you've got. Earl Grey or English breakfast with milk.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, I'm half Dutch, so my mum, that's like from the age I was 3, that's what we drank, just tea.
Love that. Not milk, just tea.
Oh, no, milk with the tea.
Milk and tea.
Yeah.
What are 3 words your friends would use to describe you?
Oof, which friends?
You tell me.
3 words to describe me. Obviously funny, hilarious, that's one. Number 2, I would say they'd say I'm courageous. Whether I feel that way or not, it's different, but I'd say they'd say that, and resilient. Hopefully I hope that they would say that I've got a kind heart. I'd hope that. That would be something I'd like to be described as. Yeah.
What is your biggest pet peeve?
Ooh. Incompetency.
Okay. Can you give me an example? Because I'm just curious.
Probably can't say that on here if people listen. People not doing things the way that I think they should be done in the way that I would do them.
Are you a control freak?
Sometimes.
Yeah. Me too.
About things that really don't matter though.
Yeah, me too.
Like, the good OCD, like where you cycle about cleaning your house. I don't have that one.
Okay.
That would have been handy. I'm OCD about stuff that other people would be like, that's so irrelevant. But I'm like, no, it's really important to me.
Each their own. Are you more of a beach, city or farm person?
Farm.
What is something small that instantly makes you happy?
My animals.
What have you got?
I've got a spoodle named Cooper, who was my mum's.
Cute.
He's currently getting pet sat as we speak because he has anxiety. And then I've got 2 British short hairs, Mr. Benson and Miss Lulu. Yeah.
Cute.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with them all.
What is your favourite form of movement or exercise?
At the moment, yoga. I've gone back into my yoga. Everyone went off yoga in COVID especially because no one wanted to be connected to themselves.
Well, Pilates is the hot thing. Everyone's doing Pilates.
Because I love Pilates too, but it's not a spiritual experience. Pilates is where I go when I kind of want to like smash my body a little bit in a good way. Like I love hot mat. But yoga, you have to, again, be connected to yourself. But I think people are really wanting that again. Yeah. I see that right now. They're full classes again, whereas there are moments when they weren't.
And the last question, what is one piece of wisdom you hope everyone takes from this conversation?
One piece of wisdom. It's far more scarier to not be who you are than to be who you are. And it's also okay to forget once in a while.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on the pod today.
Thank you.
You shared so much wisdom and insight, and I mean, I've taken a lot from this conversation. I'm sure many of our listeners will.
Random things
as well.
In there that I shared that you might want to edit out. I don't
know. Totally fine.
My PR is going to call me after this one and be like, why did you say that?
No, you were amazing. Thank you. Episodes will be released every Thursday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify and YouTube. You can also find us on Instagram and TikTok at Smile the Makeover Scoop. As always, don't forget to follow us and leave a review as well. And to wrap up this incredible season, we are ending on such a high note with none other than Maria Wilson. She's not only Miss Universe Australia 2023, but a woman who truly embodies confidence, grace and authenticity. And it is the perfect conversation to close the season. So she really shows us what it means to step into your power. I'll catch you guys all next week. Bye for now. This podcast is for informational purposes only and does not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice. Please consult with a professional for specific advice tailored to your situation.